Hi folks, Chris Martin here. In anticipation of the World Diplomacy Championships at WeaselMoot, I'm putting together a few short videos with my take on some of the players, the scoring system, and what you can expect at a really large diplomacy tournament. Today I want to talk a little bit more about some of the players who are going to be there at the World Diplomacy Championships this weekend. The rating system that I was using from the World Diplomacy database was the diplomatic pouch system, and it's been pointed out to me that that hasn't been updated as recently as the World Performance Evaluation system, which is good through the end of 2015. So I've gone back and I've run the numbers again. And now when you take a look at the top 7 ranked players in North America, you see this. The top 7 players coming from North America are all ranked in the top 10 in North American diplomacy. Let's take a look at the next 7. You've seen profiles of Dave Miletsky and Matt Sundstrom. These other players, all excellent players, ranking down to 32nd for Adam Silverman. And let's go one layer deeper for the top 3 boards, if you will, of rankings in North American diplomacy. Some great players here. You definitely see a high quality of North American play through the first 3 boards of players. And Tim Richardson, the 21st player on the North American ranking list, is 53rd in the country. That's a pretty strong set of 3 boards with the players coming to the World Championship. But things change a little bit when you factor in the international players. Now, this is the World Diplomacy Championships, not the North American. Well, it's also the North American Championships. But the point here is that we've got some excellent players coming from around the world. And let's take a look at what happens when we factor them into the mix. I've changed up the rankings here. Previously, we were looking at rankings in North American play. Now we're looking at world rankings, playing on the world stage. And you see that Eddie Brisson, still top of the charts, followed very closely by Toby Harris, who you might have heard of. He's won 1 or 2 things in the past. Tom Coburn is 3rd, but then we have Dan Lester and Andrew Goff before we get to Doug Moore and Adam Siegel. And Dan and Andrew, excellent players in their respective theaters. It's going to be a real interesting time looking at seeing how these players work on the Chicago stage. And let's go another level deeper. Let's take a look at the next 7. Only one foreign player cracks here into the top 14 that wasn't in the list already, but that is Nicolas Sahuguet. And you would be much mistaken if you thought that he wasn't going to be a factor in deciding who wins the tournament this year. Now, I want to say this. All of this focus on these top-rated players doesn't mean that one of them is going to win the championships. Now, if you're a betting man, you're probably going to put your money somewhere in this range. But remember, when I won the World Championships, I was an unranked player in my 2nd year of tournament play. It doesn't mean that you can't come up from the bottom of the ranks. We have another 80 players who are going to be playing and contesting for this position. But when it comes to a system where you have 4 qualifying rounds to get on the top board and then have to play on a top board, I certainly think that a lot of advantages accrue to the players who have played on the world stage before. Players who are accustomed to negotiating in different languages have an advantage. Players who are accustomed to playing under a different set of systems have an advantage. Players who are used to the pressure cooker of the World Diplomacy Championships. Well, that's my take. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got something to add, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'm Chris Martin, and I look forward to seeing you at the World Diplomacy Championships at WeaselMoot in Chicago.
Friday night